Hello everyone, welcome back to Scared to Death for Fun. My name is Brendan. I am your host and MC here at the channel. I want to talk about a zombie movie that I think is almost perfect. It actually might be perfect. That I love, and you saw the title, and it is Train to Busan. This movie is just so good. It is a perfect zombie movie. I feel like that word keeps floating around, and I think it is. Before I even really dive into my thoughts, review, whatever of this film, this movie gets a lot of hype, and I will say, in my opinion, I think it lives up to it. It establishes everything great with the zombies. It is everything that you want in a zombie movie, you get. You don't know what characters are going to have plot armor, which ones aren't. It is just such a great, well-made zombie movie, and Train to Busan, it even fits the title because we are on the train for 80 to 90% of this film. It's just so good. It's such a good movie, and it lives up to the hype. I will say, currently, this film is free on Tubi, so if you have not watched this film, go watch it. Go watch it right now. Pause this video, spend the 2 hours to watch this film on Tubi, and then report back, because this film is worth it. And if you haven't watched it in a few years, go watch it again. Again, free on Tubi. It's worth free. It is worth free, baby. It's worth free. Okay, I'll say it again. It's worth free. I will spoil the movie and get into it later on because it has been out for so long. I feel like a lot of the people that have wanted to see it have seen it. There is a sequel and there's a prequel. I have not seen either of those, so none of those will come into question. I don't even know what those are about. I think one of the main reasons why I like this film is that everything seems so fleshed out and connected. As in many zombie movies, there is a large cast of characters, clearly just multiple people that we don't even know that turn into zombies. But even on the train itself, there are, I would say, 10 to 15 people maybe that we learn little bits about. There's like different groupings and pairs, and there's like a baseball team. There's many different people that we follow for short bits that have subplots within the film. And all of them are, I wouldn't say fully fleshed out, but they all have different viewpoints and weight and emotions tied to them. There's two old ladies on the train together. There is the main father and daughter that we are following. There's a husband and wife who have, the wife is pregnant. There's one man who's just a CEO who's being a dick to every fucking buddy. The conductor of the train. Like, we follow so many different storylines, and each one of them is unique. And at the end of the day, as someone who loves a zombie movie, the baseline that I feel like your movie needs to accomplish when making a zombie movie is that you need to feel emotions for your characters. Because if you don't care about your character, you don't care if they turn into a zombie. In Train to Busan, it does an excellent job of having you care about all of the characters, and even hating some of them and wanting some of them to turn into zombies. The peril and the stakes, even of the side characters, are so high. They make you get invested in these characters well, so you really just feel the tense and the stakes of every scene, and it's just so well executed and so well made. Just jumping into spoilers in a review aspect, almost everybody dies. Everybody dies, and from a zombie movie, I love that. I love a tragic ending. I don't want to say that I always love a tragic ending, because this one really tugs at your heartstrings. We are following mainly this father and daughter. The growth that just the two of them have throughout the movie, he learns to care for her and care for other people, and he is the last death of the movie, and it's just so tragic. Even on top of that, the only people that survive at the end are the pregnant wife and the daughter, and it's just so sad. The husband to the pregnant wife, oh, his death, which, by the way, I remember not liking him for some reason, but I don't know why. He is actually a really heartfelt character. He's just trying to watch out for his wife the whole time. One of this movie's many strengths is showing how realistic people act in a zombie film, okay? Because the movie has a lot to say on selfishness and putting yourself first, because our main character is just looking out for him and his daughter. He doesn't even want to save anybody. He shuts out the pregnant wife and her husband in the first opening scene on the train when the zombies are infected. And his daughter's like, Dad, you can't do that. And then there's a scene where they get off on the platform and father like had made a call to one of his business buddies. And he was like, oh, instead of going to the main square, go like to the right and we'll make sure you and your daughter are safe. And he doesn't tell anybody else. Throughout the movie, he starts to have growth and realize that there is more to life. I can't just be selfish my whole life. His whole life he's been selfish and he's just been looking out for himself, and he's like a stockbroker. Like he deals with stocks, which already especially in current day society, at least in the US, that's a very, I don't want to say a scummy profession, because I'm sure that there's people that trade stocks and are stock people that are decent. But the whole, like, system of the economy just seems so corrupt and fucked up. So having that background on his character as well is just so effective. And he really goes on this journey to put himself aside, and he saves the homeless man who's on the train, and he learns to just listen to his daughter, and he doesn't just know all because he's an adult. And it's just an amazing journey that we watch him go on. He ends up then sacrificing himself for his daughter at the end. And then to add on top of that, leading into the fact that this movie does an excellent job at establishing its zombies and its rules. Because another thing that happens in a lot of zombie movies is all zombies act slightly different. Some of them are slow, some of them are fast, some of them can see, some of them are like brain dead, some of them are smart. This movie does an excellent job at establishing what its zombies can do. A nitpick with the film is there's one instance in the beginning where the main father is like, oh, they can't open the door. They're not operating the door, because the zombies are like, they're smart, but they can't like they don't have like dexterity, like they can't open doors and stuff like that. So that was the only instance where I was like, okay, like we're kind of just explaining cheaply what the rules of the zombies are. We're basically learning in real time with the characters about the zombies, and I just think I love that. I love when a movie doesn't just show all of its cards at the beginning. It doesn't over-explain. It takes its time and builds it up. Another quick divot on that at the end, when the father does turn into the zombie at the end, he has a very cathartic moment when he fully gets taken over by the disease. He has like a vision of his daughter and like holding her for the first time, and it's a very calming, scenic moment. And I like to think, at least in my analysis, that the zombies aren't necessarily suffering, which I kind of actually like that. I think zombies are always, I mean, clearly they're biting people, ravaging, being crazy, but from someone who has ideas and likes to write and has story ideas about zombies, I have thought myself about the fact that a zombie's actions are different from what's going on in its head, which I know that there's like a movie and book called Warm Bodies, which I think kind of dives into that. I started watching it, but it was kind of boring and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But I appreciated that fact in this film, because it's almost like we saw the father grow and become less selfish and really care for his daughter. And then even though he's succumbing to the disease and becoming this horrible, ravaging creature, he's almost at peace in his head because he did grow and like become a better person. I don't know. Like there's something so fulfilling about just good old-fashioned, well-told stories. Even though it ends tragically, there are like bittersweet moments. And it's just, oh, it's so good. I love it. Back to what I was saying about even the characters acting realistically. The villain in this film, the big CEO man who's just a dick to everybody, I hate to say it, but he's acting realistically, because there's one point where three main male characters, aside from the CEO, get trapped in like the upper parts of the train, and they have to basically fight their way through zombies to get to the main bulk of people. It's weird, but it makes sense in the train story. Like, the three men are up here, zombie cars. There's like an elderly lady, the homeless man, the daughter, and the pregnant wife, and then another car of zombies, and then it's like the big group of people. So they successfully make their way through, again, while adding all of the juicy, amazing plot and zombie learning throughout. And then when they get to the car, the CEO is like, we can't let them in. We don't know if they're infected. We don't know. And it's in the context of the story because we're following these characters and we just saw them fight tooth and nail to get here. And there's moments where they almost die. And one of the characters does die. Like, we lose a main character at this moment. It's so frustrating and aggravating to see this evil character just deny them access to this car. But then I took myself out of it for a moment and I was like, I would do the same thing. I don't know if I would let these people who are just in contact with zombies just roam freely into my car. I don't know if they got bit, they're hiding it, because that's always a trope in zombie movies as well. Like, someone got bit and they're hiding it. But in real life, I'm like, I feel like I wouldn't let them in my car either. And they end up getting, like, put into this middle cabin between, like, the train cars. And I was like, yeah, I feel like I would do the same thing. It really just, like, made me think about how the villainous and evil characters in this film are acting, like, realistically. As someone who, and me, myself, I try to be very selfless and caring to people, but when it comes to the life or death situation of zombies, I have the mantra of you can never be too careful. And I feel like I would err on the side of caution, and I don't know if I would let these people in to the cabin with me. Now, I don't say that to say that I agree with the CEO character, because he is a dick and he does a lot of, like, fucked up shit and just basically tears everybody down to build himself up. And I'm not saying I would do all of that. But in that instance, in the car, it's kind of like fear-mongering and groupthink because he just, like, speaks for everybody. I feel like I could easily just be swayed to be like, yeah, let's get them out. Like, I don't know if they're infected. This film just does an amazing job even humanizing its villains. There's no character that is a caricature. Everything seems so real and grounded, and everything makes sense. The characters that are evil, like this CEO, isn't evil just to be evil. Like, his justification makes sense. He's trying to protect himself, and he's, yes, very selfish, and a big theme of the film is to try to be selfless instead of selfish, because that's the growth that our main character goes through. But damn if his justifications aren't compelling. It's all so realistic, and it's just such a human story grounded behind this zombie film. Another little thing that I want to add is that at the beginning of the film, we're seeing that the father is being told to, like, sell all of his stocks and basically, like, crash the economy. And later on in the film, it's told to us that his company started the zombie apocalypse, which I was kind of just like, okay, like, I get it. I didn't need that. I understand its effect in the story. It's supposed to show that our character has left his old life behind. He could have turned into the evil CEO, but instead he learned to be selfless through his daughter, and the father was kind of teetering on what road he was going to choose, and he ultimately chose to be the selfless person. And I guess it was kept in to show that he kind of was leaving the corrupt and, like, cause of it behind, and he was, like, a new man. But, like, I think that was the one part that really made me ask more questions, because I was like, well, how did they start the zombie? Like, were they testing on something? How did the zombies start? Because the movie never really explains how the zombies start. There's an opening scene when this man hits a deer and it basically turns into a zombie. So, like, there's a thought that it comes from animals. The movie didn't need the lore of why this universe's zombies came to be, because everything else works perfectly without it. There's never a question of, like, why. We're all just trying to survive on this train. So I didn't really need that. I don't know why it was included. I was kind of just like, hey, I don't need, hey, this is whatever. It's just such a good film, and it's horrifying. It has horror elements. It has such a good story, and it's so, I guess, unique for a zombie movie, and it's just a perfect zombie film in my eyes. If you have not seen it by now, go watch it. If you have seen it, rewatch it. And let me know what you think down below. Is this one of your favorite movies? Have you seen it? Please comment and let me know. If you have any recommendations for the sequels or any movies similar to this, please also let me know. I love a zombie movie. Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Hopefully, bye.